Okay, so hey guys, Smoover Sitdown. I couldn't think of a better name, so that's just the name. Sitdown really doesn't make a lot of sense, but there's not a lot of S words, so that's what the podcast is named. Don't mind it, don't mind
You
it.
say there's not a lot of S
Ah,
words?
there's
Not a
not
lot
a
of
lot
S
of
words.
S words.
A lot of S words.
Not a lot of S words.
Sleeper.
Okay, well, there's not a lot. Snail's an S word. Um,
Squid.
Squid is an S word. Yeah, so there's not a lot of S words that fit that second
Shut
spot though.
down.
Is what? Yeah, Smoover's Shutdown. That's a
The
good name.
Smoovers Showdown.
We're not a game show, but yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, this is the first one, and to start it off light, and since it recently came out, we're gonna be talking today about Tunnels of Terror and our general opinions on things. So, just to start us off, let's kind of go through the three Smoovers. So you got Blue, Cam up on the top up there, the expert. We're kind of in the order of our knowledge and skill in the game, starting from the bottom actually. So the best player here is me, Ryan, purple Smoover.
Oh yeah,
Then we got Cyan Smoover, David. Some of you know him as the mod guy.
yeah. Yes.
He's a middle of the road skill in Back for Blood. And then you got Cam.
Middle of the road opinions.
Yeah, then you got Cam, absolutely terrible at the game, no opinion. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
He doesn't even play this game, bro.
Is it like Left 4 Dead?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
just
kinda.
like Left 4 Dead.
Oh,
So guys, let's go just quickly run it down. Overall opinions for Tunnels of Terror. Whoever wants to say your opinion, go.
cool.
I like it, but I think I don't know. It looks like they promised a lot, and I didn't expect them to deliver like half of what they did. So when they came and delivered like 3/4 of what they promised, I'm like, all right, that's like more than I expected, but like it could be more than that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I
Okay.
think this update was a big improvement from how the game was before. And overall, like even if you don't pay for like the DLC, I think the game has improved quite a bit. So
Yeah, the game's just better. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it's good.
I'm in the same boat. I think the DLC, the expansion, I think it just brought a lot of hype back to the game because a lot of people would have claimed that it was dying. Not to say that this saved the game, but overall, I think it was definitely a good thing for Back for Blood. But we'll go into more detail in the rest of this episode. So yeah, the first big thing that kind of came with this expansion and DLC, and I think kind of like the main reason people would even consider buying it, right, is the Hives, because that's like where most of the new content is. Yeah, like that's where all the new
Yeah.
content pretty much is.
Yeah.
Other than
Besides
normal
no
difficulty.
Yeah. So how do we feel about the addition of, I guess, kind of like new, not maps, but like the new levels as being like a part of the current map? Like, how do we feel about that? Because it was kind of an interesting choice.
I really like it. I thought I was not going to like it, but I think that it adds like a new way of playing the current maps, which is like if you find a hive, you have to think like, do I continue with the story or do I go into the hive? And a lot of like the way they promoted it was that you have to go into these hives to get like this great loot and all these guns and stuff. But honestly, personally, I don't really like most of those guns. I kind of just go into the hives for the money and extra cards. But like, I feel like that's still worth it most of the time.
Yeah, it's an interesting way. I do like that they made it so if one person has the DLC, anyone
Yeah.
can play. That's a good choice. Just I know a lot of people like for quick match or whatever. Um, it's been hard for people to find matches, and usually when they get into a match, it's kind of shit. So
Yeah.
this was a good decision to make it so everyone could have the DLC if like one friend wanted to buy it, especially with no quick play being available on like no hope difficulty.
Yeah.
And also
That's a
with like
weird
no
decision.
hope, I think those tunnels aren't even really necessary either, and that's good too. So it's not like
Yeah.
I mean, pay to win doesn't really matter as much in PvE. I think we talked about that before, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not pay to win, so that's good.
Yeah, I think overall I kind of agree that like I think it's because like I think most people were expecting them to just come out with like completely almost like a new campaign, I suppose, sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
just like new maps that you would like pick on like select, right? And you're completely like away from the main game, or at least that's how I imagine them doing it. 'Cause I think that's how most games would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like adding it to the current aspect of the game is pretty cool because it's like, yeah, you have a different way of playing the game, right? Like I kind of wish though that this might just be me that the hives, I wish the spawns of them were like a little more varied because I think most of them often come near the end of levels, which I mean like is a design choice, you know, like, oh, you don't want people skipping full levels. But I think like if you put them earlier on, it could be like, oh, this level is like terrible. Let's just go into the hive and like eat like all the damage there. Because I think most people would consider the hives like on average like sort of difficult. I mean, at least in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe like I haven't played it enough, so maybe it's like super easy. But
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
hives are pretty hard. It's just that they're not as long as a normal level
yeah,
if you
no,
take
it's
the
true.
earliest
If you take the early
exit.
exit, yeah, definitely.
So if you get it early on, then it's usually worth even on no hope to go in, just because you can just head out early.
Yeah. I do like the designs though of the hives. I think like the various ones that they have. I thought like honestly when I first saw it, I thought all of them were gonna be. I thought you like go into the hive and it'd basically be like the exact same every time, you know, like or like they'd maybe just like have like different tunnel layouts or something. But like they're all completely different. They all look very different and like different approaches and like strategies, which is pretty cool. I didn't think they'd have to actually put that much effort forward. It is unfortunate though, like on release that like the like little like secret crates, like the one in the bottom right there, that they only do trauma damage because clearly
Yeah,
that's
well,
not
that's
the
some
intended thing. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
it, which like is pretty unfortunate because that is where like you know the cool loot's supposed to be, but like when like you know exactly what the crate's gonna do, it takes away from that a little bit.
And also you can block that trauma damage right now with temp health,
Yeah.
which is not supposed to happen. So they're gonna fix that with the new effects afterwards. So there should be some more playing around that.
I don't even know if the risk reward is like great on those, honestly. Like I know you get
No,
like the cards and like everything, but like I feel like you don't get actually like all that much from it, and you take a
no,
lot. You lose a
Right.
yeah.
lot.
Right
It's
now,
like
it's completely worth it actually. Like because you can
Yeah,
counter
because
it
you
with
can
the
counter it.
build.
Yeah.
yeah, but like
No,
once
I'm
they
just wondering,
fix
like,
that,
yeah, I'm wondering if the risk reward, like in the future, if it's actually gonna be there. Like,
no, I don't think so. Because trauma costs so much. Like 20 trauma per person is like just think about how long or how much it costs to get that back from a cabinet. This is not
I
worth it.
think that trauma, because it's trauma, it's worth it because you can get that back. But like the other ones you were talking about, it was like you had slower reload for like ever. You can never get that back.
Yeah.
So I think those like once they update it to have those in, I don't think the crates will be as worth it unless they make it like a guaranteed legendary.
yeah, see, I think like the loot from it should just be better. But I guess maybe it's kind of rough because like you can't just get a hive on what like
Yeah.
the first or second level, right? And then it's like you have a
No,
legendary
yeah,
the rest of the playthrough.
they
Like,
nerfed that actually.
oh, did they?
You can't well, I
It's
think you
less
can,
likely.
but it's less likely that you get better stuff on the early levels versus the later levels.
Oh, okay. I
Which
mean, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I think is like it makes sense, but also like it's kind of annoying because
It makes it less
you
worth it.
can't use it. Yeah, it makes it less worth
Yeah.
it because you can't use it for as long. Like if you're at the
Yeah.
end, it's like, well, I'm already so buff with my current gun that why
Mhm.
would I switch? Like if you get it at the beginning, you don't even have like if you have greens, you're lucky. But by the end, you're like rocking a purple unbolted, and you're
True.
like, well, like, why do I need this?
Well, I
That's
think
very true.
I've said this before with like the totems, they're kind of not worth it if you're actually just trying to win. Like trying to
Well,
go around and collect the totems is
so
kind of a
I
waste of your
really
time.
like as a melee, I really like having the totems around for specials because they do a lot of stumble. Like you
True.
can just run up to a special and just kill them. Like a bruiser, um, even the breaker, like it's really good against. But I really I wish that the normal totem did more damage. Like I don't like the fact that you can upgrade it to like a better weapon. I wish they were all the same strength.
No matter how many stacks.
Yeah. And even if that was like less than the 3, like if they were all the same strength as the 2 totem, but
Hmm.
because then like it feels almost like when you have one totem, you're just like dragging it around till you can get some more. And it's the same problem of like
Is that the
you pick
risk
it up.
reward of it though?
Yeah, it's like the same problem with the crates is like you get it early on and it's not as good, but you get it later on and you don't have enough time to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
Wait, is there anywhere in here? Wait, is this where we talk about weapon skins?
I mean, I talk about new weapons later. That's like part of like the same thing as cards. But if you want to talk about it now, that's fine.
I just want to say that the weapon skins are kind of
Okay.
kind of lame that they're
yeah,
a
definitely.
lot of the same.
It's
Yeah.
like 3 PNGs they slapped on everything.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if they like it was different for the different guns because I don't want to put the same cupcake skin on every single gun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the character skins though, right? Were
Oh, those were good.
those were
yeah.
great, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
think
some of them are better than others.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
how it's
that's always
always
gonna happen,
be.
right?
Yeah.
But at least with the
Definitely,
character skins, they were like different. All of them were different. I think that's why
yeah.
they were good.
I think just the character skins alone made me want to start playing Carly and Walker because
Really
they're
Because they're
so
better.
good.
Okay.
interesting.
But Holly's is just terrible. I haven't even bought it yet, and I main Holly.
I don't know, I think some people like the Holly skins. It's all opinion, but
yeah,
I guess
but I don't like
luckily you can just make your own.
it. I'm trying.
I think what's interesting, I'm just thinking about Hives more, like going forward, because like we're assuming that the future DLC will be like, I think they've probably already said, right? They're gonna be like do more maps or campaigns or something. So like, are the Hives just gonna be like permanently like across all of them? Like, I guess that's just how it's gonna be. Like, or do you think like, or do you think Hives are just like solely for like this main campaign? Like,
Well, probably what they're gonna do is do like something similar to this, like not an entirely separate campaign, but if they do have something, they're gonna add like another act or like some more
Yeah.
levels into the current acts. But I don't think
I don't
they'll
think
put
they'll.
that
I
much
don't
time.
think they'll. Oh, you mean like towards the end of an act they'll add more, kind of
Yeah,
thing? Oh, true.
because
like
like
a
even
left
as
instead of a right, you know?
even the
Yeah.
current acts, like they have kind of a cohesive storyline, but they're in like chunks, right?
Yeah.
So like 3 levels in a row will finish a storyline. So maybe they'll add like
A storyline between them or something.
yeah, or they'll just add like an act like I wouldn't say an act 5, but like shift all of the other acts down and add in an act 2.
Isn't it kind of set up for like an Act 5? Because they didn't kill it, the Abomination.
Yeah. Also, we have in the hives we have our abomination egg. So maybe they can do something with that.
It'd be interesting if they
Whoa.
combined stories or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, story isn't a driving factor, but
Do we talk about the specials now? The new specials? Or I don't. Okay, wait. Let me look through all this stuff again.
there. No, so I did
new
not include a
cards.
spot. I did not include a spot for the new specials because I thought they were so like I don't know. I thought I saw general opinions of them being kind of like, oh, they're there. You know, I don't know if you guys feel
Yeah.
differently about that, maybe, but like,
Yeah. That's
I don't think
basically how I feel.
people came in with no expectations. They're just like, oh, look at this porcupine specials, woohoo, and we got them, and they're like basically that. Like some of them, I mean, you definitely like the counter plays a little different in things, but I don't think they overall change really the game or like how you play. I don't.
No.
I think the best one is the Shredder.
Is that
The
the one
sucker
that the suck
changing things.
guy?
Yeah.
Or- yeah, that one's the one I'm thinking of too. Like the other ones are all just like whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But that one, yeah, it definitely changes the gameplay quite a bit because it's
I don't know.
like
I feel like it plays the same as like a Reeker. It's like don't get close to it.
I don't know. I think it's when you see it and it's doing its little animation that's gonna pull you in. You have to like get behind a wall or something.
yeah,
Well, I guess that is kind of the same.
it is
as
sort of the
a
same.
wretch.
Oh, I hate wretches, bro.
But
What
we
the
hate all of
heck,
them.
bro?
We hate all the specials here.
I was playing Swarm yesterday, and the Ripper was not balanced right for that game mode.
Oh,
Because you can like sit on top of a roof
yeah.
and use his ability, and it will go down onto the ground, and so you'd be hitting somebody without them being able to see you.
That's crazy.
Ooh, the pro
Yeah.
strats.
Yeah, they do not balance your swarm at all. Which
No,
we
I
thought-
don't think I
Yo,
don't think
just
they care
pick
about
tall
Swarm
boy
at
and
all.
click.
Honestly, just pick Tall Boy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough on Hives. We should probably head on to the other big things in this update. So haven't talked about it yet, but 2 new characters, Heng and Sharice. People
Woo!
were kind of like maybe excited when they were theory crafting what their abilities could be, and then we got them. And now they're in the game. General opinions, they're strong, right? We think both of them. I mean, Sharice is definitely strong, yeah. Or-
Sharice is one of
Yeah.
the best in the game because of
Yeah.
her armor, for sure.
I like them, both of them. I think that it's kind of annoying that like both of their team effects, like the reuse chance and the bolstered health, are unique things that like yeah, you can supplement them with cards like Magician's Apprentice or Fit as a Fiddle, which we can talk about later. But
yeah.
all of the other cleaners, they're kind of just like stat changes, their team
Yeah.
effects, where these are like unique ways to play the game. I don't know. I find it kind of weird. And it like
For
Hangs
sure
is
for
not that
Sharice, but
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
not as much for Hang.
But yeah, Sharice is like if you don't have Sharice on your team, you just don't have armor and you don't have
Yeah.
bolstered
Yeah,
health,
that's
and once
the
you take
really
Fit as a
weird
Fiddle,
part is that
it's like
it's
I
just
don't know.
not a complete mechanic of the game is not there unless you have her.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I know
So-
people kind of panicked, said they're like, yeah, Sharice is just the meta now. Like every team's gonna have Sharice, right? And like, it's kind of true, right? Like,
I mean,
she's
yeah,
very
I think-
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the armor
And
blocks
starting with a
complete
fire
hit,
axe too, like
yeah, she's really good.
if you go melee, you got bolstered health, you start with a fire axe, and armor blocks tall boys, like
It blocks
That's
a complete
insane.
hit from the ogre. Like
yeah,
it's huge.
yeah.
Sharice is just the best. I
Like
think.
even when I go Holly, I hope that I get a Sharice on my team just so I can have all those effects.
Yeah, no, yeah. So then we were talking about a lot about Sharice. I know Heng initially on day one, people saying Heng absolutely worthless. Like, why even bother playing? I think opinions slightly changed away from like terrible. I think people are like Heng's like decent, good. Where are we at now with that?
I think the issue is he's competing with Hoffman, and Hoffman is the best. So he's gonna fall short every
Yeah,
time.
I think yeah, Hang is he's I think harder to make good than Sharice. Like Sharice is just naturally good because just stuff just happens. Hang, it's like you have to build around his kit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not built to take damage, like if you don't have that temp health, if you don't have all that stuff, like it just like that extra creating things just doesn't happen. And like sensing whatever stuff that's useless.
Oh yeah.
And the
Yeah,
reuse
yeah.
chance is like so small that
Yeah, it's only 1 out of
you
20,
can't-
right? Like,
you can't really plan around it. It just kind of happens sometimes. You're like, oh yeah, I have a hang. But the main thing is like the generating items. So you kind of have to build for a Hang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if they changed his passives, he might be a decent character. But his passives are just completely useless. Like finding hives, I'm pretty sure at this
Yeah.
point most people know where like all the hives are.
Yeah.
And it hasn't even been that long. So that part's
Yeah.
useless. And like knowing where attachment boxes are, if you're playing the
Yeah.
game properly, you're gonna find them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. His passives need to be changed, and then he might actually be decent.
Well, I think he's not bad right now. It's just
Could be
he's
better.
not.
He's
Yeah,
not.
he's not.
He's not
He's not as
bad.
good
He's
as
just,
Hoffman,
yeah,
who like basically Hoffman does what Hang does, but better.
yeah,
So
exactly.
Hang's not like bad, but just like if you feel like you want to pick Hang, just pick Hoffman.
Literally.
Yeah, isn't that like the issue of like the cleaners is generally, right? Like there's usually just like a better option. Like you just pick it. Like it was like Doc before, right? It's like if you want to heal it, like okay, you just need to
No.
have a Doc. So now it's just like, oh, you need to have a Sharice. Like
Mom was also picked as the
yeah.
healer. She like
Yeah, but
it was
Mom
a
got
toss up.
nerfed,
Mom got nerfed, so she's like
like
kind of
so
not
nerfed.
good at all
So now
anymore.
I think you just gotta pick Doc.
Now it is Doc.
Yeah.
But before it was a toss up because Mom had the extra life,
Extra lives, yeah.
which was huge. But yeah, they took that away, so now it is Doc is the healer, and Mom needs a buff again. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It is pretty awkward, I feel like, balancing a lot of the cleaners because like yeah, they're not they're like unique, but like you said, it's like a stat change for a lot of the things and stuff. So like they're not massive changes. So when one
But
of them's
that's the
slightly
thing.
better, like they're just way better, right?
Yeah, like if the nerfs and buffs were like oh, Hang's not great, let's increase his reuse chance to 10%, then that'd be more understandable than like Mom's like, okay, just get rid of her extra
Yeah.
life. Like
Yeah.
what? That's like the whole point of taking Mom.
Well, I also think it might have been because the bot wasn't. Well, actually, that wasn't the extra life. That was the instant revive.
Yeah.
Which she doesn't have anymore either, right?
No,
No.
she has.
Yeah.
She gives everyone 100% revive speed.
Yeah, so they just completely reworked her in an attempt to nerf her,
I think the
and now it's
bad
like
thing,
gone too far.
the reason why Mom is like bad now is the only time she does anything is if your team's getting destroyed. Like your team has to be dying
Yeah,
for her to
and you
do
shouldn't
anything.
ever be in that situation.
You don't want to be in
No,
that spot.
you,
Yeah.
you would rather be good. Like I would rather have a character like Doc who's going to be giving me health, so nobody's dying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And with like a Doc with bolstered health and overheal, like now
Yeah.
you're just like being chilling
Yeah, that's
at like 250 health.
the only
Like,
good thing
alright.
Mom has is she makes temporary health go down slower, but that's not really needed.
Yeah. I don't think you feel that as much as some of the other things in the game.
Yeah.
Like what the other characters have. Yeah. I don't know. I think the balancing act is difficult. Yeah. I think it'd be. They would never, I feel like, go the route of, yeah, just changing numbers. Like, or like, that wouldn't be their only fix. Like, David, right? Like the 5 to 10%. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if people would be happy with that. Cause
I mean, for some characters, I think
it could
that
work. It
they
definitely could
do
work.
that.
Yeah.
Like
But
Hang needs more than that, but
the 5% is, yeah, not. It is a
But I
weird
mean,
just
in
mechanic.
theory-
Do you think people would like it more if it popped up like something on your screen being like, yeah, the only reason you reuse this is because Hang did it? Then people would see Hang as better. You know, like
Yeah.
in the bottom left, there's like
Yeah.
the symbols
Yeah.
to
Maybe
know
just-
how much
I don't
Hang is
think
actually
so.
helping.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't. I mean,
Because
I think
like,
it's just like-
you don't know at all.
you don't.
It's I wish he had like a different team effect as well, or like he's just missing something. Like Sharice, even just looking at this
You're
graphic,
just reading the two graphics, right? Yeah.
like Sharice has more stuff on her side. And when you consider the fact that the first one on Hang's side is useless, that's like 2 versus 4. It's like clearly.
No, yeah, it doesn't even look like a competition at that point.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I think they're gonna keep like trying to balance stuff probably going forward. Couldn't imagine they just stop. Cause
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
hope they buff Hang rather than nerf Hoffman, because I feel like that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I don't like nerfs in general.
yeah,
No.
I do feel like they generally are trying to fix things by nerfing whatever is strong,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
it's
And in
unfun a
a
lot of the time.
in
Yeah,
a
But
because it doesn't.
PvE game, nobody's happy with nerfs. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't get why that's their go-to.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think like if one cleaner is bad compared to another cleaner who's good, you should not nerf the good one. Just buff the bad
yeah, just
one.
make the bad ones good so people want to play them too, right?
Because now, yeah, all the people who are playing the bad character, they still have a bad character. But now the people who were content, now they're complaining
Now they
too.
have a bad character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Well, next up in this update, the big thing everyone was really excited for, No Hope difficulty. The new difficulty, everyone originally theory crafting that it was just going to be identical to old Nightmare on release, just be very hard, unforgiving. And then right before it released on Reddit, I think one of the game developers something released kind of like, "Oh no, it's a different way to play the game." And it definitely is. So how do you guys feel about No Hope difficulty? How you get your whole deck right on start? It's definitely a different experience.
I
Yeah.
like it, but I don't like the mentality behind it, I guess. Like,
What does that
again,
mean?
it's like it's a different way to play the game. I think people wanted essentially like old Nightmare. I think people just wanted a harder game. And I feel like this isn't like it's harder, but it's not playing the same game, you know? And like even the idea of like on Nightmare, you go into Hives to get an extra card, and then you'll go into the inner layer to get another card. On No Hope, you don't have that. Like you just don't pull extra cards. On No Hope, economy rules because you have to buy extra
W.
cards in the
Yeah.
intel, but intel spawns more frequently on No Hope. So it's just like a totally different way of playing. And
Yeah, I like it. I
it
like having
turns
harder
out to
cards.
be a harder mode, but I don't think it's a harder version of what already exists.
No, that's what I was like asking a lot when it first came out. What people's opinions on like if Nightmare was actually harder than No Hope. I don't think that's true.
No.
After playing Nightmare, Nightmare is definitely easy, especially with the tunnels.
Yeah.
Just going in and getting that extra card. But yeah, I think No Hope it does play different, and it's not necessarily much harder. But then again, people were saying they wanted old Nightmare, but um, I think a lot of people found the game hard anyways, like because
Yeah.
it was new. It was just hard because
Yeah.
no one knew how to play.
But so what I think with this is that they've given us like essentially a new game mode, a new way to play the game, and now it's like exclusive to like people who are good at the game. So now you have people who are playing on Recruit, and it's like, man, I wish I could play a version of Recruit that just gave me all my cards at the beginning and had intel spawns
Oh,
and
I see what you're saying.
had
Yeah.
yeah.
no items spawn on the map. Because it's a cool idea to be able to have your entire deck up front, but you can only do it right now if you play on No Hope and if you're really good versus the other side,
Ooh.
which is I'm better than Nightmare. Like I can beat Nightmare reliably, and I just want Nightmare but harder. No Hope isn't really that either because you aren't building your deck over time. So I feel like it's cool that they added a new game mode, but now they've left. Instead of filling a void that existed before,
They
they've
created
created a
new
new one.
ones. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
No, that's
So
actually a great point. Yeah, that's an amazing way to think about it. Yeah, because No Hope is just a completely different way of playing the game. It is not old Back for Blood for sure. And yeah, limiting that to only essentially good players, right?
yeah.
Because I have to imagine a large proportion of Back for Blood players only play Recruit. I don't think anyone touches Veteran as far as I'm aware, but That is a good
I
think-
point.
Yeah.
I think people do play like. So what I've heard is that recruit is just like way too easy, and then
Mhm.
Yeah.
veteran is like a big jump. So I think a lot of people play veteran and then don't touch nightmare.
And then don't touch nightmare at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I like about No Hope is like, yeah, the whole like it's kind of like a roguelike elements or anything like that, or I
Yeah.
always forget which one it is, the actual term, but like the idea of like, you're building your build further into the game, like you're finding all these different cards and just buying them. And I know it's kind of like you just get whatever you get, you don't really get to choose.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is super limited by like economic reasons in the game. So I don't know. The meta for No Hope seems completely different than the normal game, or like I guess old Nightmare or like Nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because it's like if you don't like that kind of like, oh yeah, you're forced to have crazy good econ, then like you're just kind of screwed. Like okay, just don't play No Hope then, right? Like because that's the way you should play the game. But
Yeah, but there's no version of
there's nothing
Nightmare
else to
that's
do.
harder. So if
Yeah.
you just want to do something harder than Nightmare, you have to play No Hope, which functions like this.
And you can't play quick play anymore, which is a big issue for
That
a lot
is
of people.
a huge issue. Yeah. That was even annoying for us actually the other day when we were trying to play No Hope and there's just two of us, since it's like, well, what do we do? Like most people aren't like Cam, right? Where he can just go play solo Nightmare and do okay. Most people, the whole idea is to have a team. And while the bots have gotten better, I still think your average player is not going to be able to play it by yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
True. You have to play the game plays a lot differently with bots. So
I wish you could just
some
choose
people
the
might not
bots
enjoy that.
cards.
I think that
I
would
feel like
break the game.
that would make it so much easier to play with
It
bots.
would make it a lot easier, but I think it might break the game. I want to test that.
Why would it break the game? Because
I think you can make the bots OP.
But that's how humans function. Like if you're playing with teammates, then
I mean, aren't there like mechanics of
yeah.
bots?
Like
right?
bots don't get damaged by like retch, vomit, and stuff like that. So they play differently. They're already buffed. Their problem is their AI. But if you give them really good cards, I think you could make them too good.
Yeah, like it might not matter. Yeah, I mean, like also just like the fact that like they have like unlimited like healings and stuff like that, right? Like those are like, things that like normal players just can't do.
Yeah, and unlimited uses of the health station and stuff like that. So like money doesn't matter.
But they also can't pick stuff up. Like you can't give them different. You can't ask them to pick up a weapon or an attachment or have them hold on to something for you, like a toolkit. Like
true.
So
there are ways around giving them weapons, though.
Yeah, but like if you want to hold a defib for in case a bot dies, and you're like, well, I also want a toolkit, and you have a bot who has a toolkit, and just like use that door, please. Like, what is that? I don't know.
I think they could definitely improve your interaction with the bots, to make it a little nicer, like telling them to pick up weapons and stuff like that. It might be hard to not make it OP. I say make it so they don't jump off the map and kill themselves
Or if they just had some concept of what's better. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you have a white weapon and you find the exact same weapon but green, just pick it up. Like, I don't know why the bots just
like if you ping it.
Yeah. No, like the bots
they do upgrade their guns like throughout the levels.
Yeah, like naturally as a compensation, but like
do you think they should get attachments too?
You should be able to, like, if there's an attachment that you don't want, give it to a bot. Because stuff still spawns on the map that you're not going to use all the time. So.
Because you're one player too. Like
yeah. And also the bots not spending their money. Like,
oh yeah, that's really
that's crazy. Yeah.
I get that it's to compensate for the fact that their weapons upgrade and they have infinite uses, but like I don't think that
they don't use their stuff like well.
Yeah,
like they could throw a pipe bomb in a corner of a room with nothing in it.
Yeah. Like realistically, you could just not have them have infinite uses and then let them buy stuff and you get the same effect, but more realistic compared to playing with humans. Also, the bots should drop their own money.
I
Yeah,
do think I
I
think
think
if the
they
bots
should.
got their own money, that they wouldn't really need to make that many more
Changes or anything.
changes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like they
them not.
already drop ammo. It just doesn't have to be infinite. Just be like,
Yeah,
drop
because
your
I mean,
ammo.
they already count how much money they have, right? Because like when you get the bot,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can see their money. Yeah, I think that would just be like a pretty logical thing. Because yeah, it's just sitting on them for like no reason.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't. It's a really weird thing. But yeah, generally, opinions on No Hope it was good, right? Like we like that
Yeah.
they added it. Have some problems with it, like leave some more holes, but generally
Yeah.
like
I
the
like the game
difficulty
mode.
existing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my
I think it's fun.
complaints are not that it's bad. It's that like I want more.
Yeah, you want
Yeah,
more. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just not what a lot of people wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do I
But
even
that's
have
fine.
next? What's next here? Ah, the new cards and weapons. Weapons, I guess, a little less important or impactful. I mean, some people probably don't even like find the new weapons, but the new cards kind of.
Some of these cards are dumb.
Some of the new cards are kind of important by the initial thoughts. First thing off, getting the new cards, you need to get the totems from the thing.
Oh yeah,
Which-
true.
Which fortunately isn't limited to people that own the DLC, because you can go
Pay to
into the
win.
hives.
Pay to
But yeah,
win.
fortunately for that, because some of these cards are actually pretty good. So if that was limited to only people that own the DLC, that's a little unfortunate. But how do you guys feel about the new cards? I know this is kind of a low res im, so like it's kind of hard to read, but like
I think the most important card, not as a card, but just concept, is the weaponsmith. Because
Oh yeah, no, the card's not that good, but
the card's not that great because it just saves you money.
mhm.
But the fact that you can unbolt your weapons is a
pretty
big
cool.
change.
Yeah,
I like
especially if
running
you got,
Stealthy
like, extra
Passage.
white stuff.
I think it's not that great a card in general, but it's fun, so I like it. And Fit as a Fiddle is really good.
And bolstered health is pretty sweet too. That you can have more of
Yeah,
it.
the mechanic of bolster health in general. It's very cool. Well rested overheal is cool as well. And I think Pinata goes well with
A
Hoffman.
lot. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
So
Yeah, I
and
think
Magician's
Pinata is like one of
Apprentice.
the strongest cards they added right now.
Which means it's gonna get a nerf. So
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, probably.
like, oh man, we gave them a good card. That was
Oopsies.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
Yeah, I haven't really tried out the other cards that much. Like, I don't know where they would fit in.
Yeah,
I
some
like
of them are
using
really
Pumped Up.
weird.
I use Pumped Up on my melee build.
I think the new cards, I think most people would say like, yeah, they're new cards are gonna keep coming. I think is like the assumption. I think most people think that new cards are a pretty easy add for them, right? Like if there's a hole, they can just fill it with a new card.
Yeah.
Which is cool, especially when they add new mechanics. Like new cards will come with those new mechanics.
The problem I think is that like all of the cards here that have unique mechanics are like not that good.
Yeah, they're not that great.
Like Power Strike is not great. Bodyguard, Overprotective, I guess they're okay. But like the best cards here, I think, are the ones that rely on other mechanics that already exist. Like Pinata, Well Rested, Fit as a Fiddle. Like
yeah, they're just good cards, right? Like on already existing things.
yeah.
Well, Team Overheal, yeah, well rested. I think is a good card for one person to take, like always.
Yeah.
Right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I know. Like I've talked to like some bad people in the game. Like when I'm playing online, I'll just like ask them questions, and I know a big thing, surprisingly, is people just don't like the card system, like generally existing.
Really?
Which I find to be a little crazy personally. I think it's like a really cool thing, but apparently a lot of people just like they don't want to think about it, which is weird.
I think that it's like I don't like that you don't start off with cards. Like
To like
if
earn
you
them
could,
all.
yeah, like a weird comparison, Pixel Strike 3D,
That is a weird
you start
comparison.
off with you start off with 3 classes, right? You have like assault, recon, and I don't remember what the third one is because I don't use it. But then you can change those classes. Like if you're like, oh well, this gun's not doing it for me, I can swap that out. Or I prefer to have a throwing knife instead of a grenade. Swap that out. Versus Back for Blood, like you have your starter deck, which isn't even full,
Yeah, it's not a thing.
and those cards are garbage. So if you don't make a deck, you lose.
Yeah,
And I hate
so
that.
I was gonna say I'm surprised the game doesn't have pre-made decks
Yeah,
for like
exactly.
standard ways of playing. Like
Exactly. Like just say, here's a melee deck, here's a DPS deck, here's a healer
yeah,
deck.
No, what's crazy? If you go into the like tutorial videos that they have in the game, it says they have those pre-made decks.
really
Yeah, but they just never
interesting.
came
They
to
just
the
never.
game.
Don't.
Yeah,
I'm
and I know
pretty
people.
sure. I'm gonna go check right now, actually.
Yeah, and I know people would just say like, oh well, people can just go find decks online and copy paste them
No,
exactly.
that's too much work.
But that's like like right, the average player,
Even for
right?
me, I never did that.
You just want to like go into a game and play. So it's pretty surprising that there isn't just like generic healer or like generic support, generic damage
honestly,
dealer, melee build.
I
Like
haven't done that.
yeah,
I've never looked up a deck.
yeah,
I just look up cards, like
yeah.
card effects and how they complement each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then like put them together in my own deck. But I feel like looking something up or like taking someone else's deck is not. I don't know. I wish there were just a preset that I could swap out things when I find that something's not helpful,
Not
or
working
if I
out.
want something else like playing melee. Man, I really wish I had temp health. Okay, let me swap this out for a temp health card. Like that's sort of how I'm playing it right now. But if there were some starter deck of 15 cards that were not bad, I think it would be less daunting for new players. Because it's really hard to just put cards in a deck. Like just that idea of like what cards go together, what cards do I need? Like if I put a shotgun card in my deck, I'm committed to using a shotgun. And if I'm not using a shotgun, I'm wasting a card. And things like that. Like
I think the reason people don't like the deck system is because they like this game is not an arcade type zombie game like Left 4 Dead was, where you could just load into it, not think, play the game, and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's
Well,
planning with this game, and I don't think
having a
that's the
good time is
problem.
debatable.
That's you. That's just you, though.
Yeah, I know it was a little off of like them adding these new cards, but I think it's just like I think they're gonna keep just adding new cards, and I'm curious if they're ever gonna like address like the problems some people have with it. Because like I do think if you just had like preset decks that like worked, then people like wouldn't mind the card system existing, right? Because then they could just go, click play and be okay. Yeah. Whereas that doesn't really exist. Like you do have to do that pre-thinking. You have to actually, and like maybe there shouldn't exist decks that are like absolutely broken so you can go into no hope, or like I guess like nightmare. Like maybe nightmare should be like okay, it's difficult, but like even something like veteran, right? Like I feel like if you do veteran without a deck, it might not go too well.
Yeah. Or even like if you unlock cards, just be like, would you want to put this in a deck? Or like in like how Spotify or Amazon or something, when you add a song to your songs, it's like, okay, I also want to add this to my playlist. Like
yeah.
like on buying the card, because I feel like people like the unlock system. They just don't like to actually put them together. So if you could build a deck like one card at a time, I feel like even starting with a starter deck would be fine, because then when you buy your first card, you'd be like, all right, put that in my deck. Then you buy a second card. Okay, put that in my deck. And it's less daunting than, all right, pick
create
15.
A whole deck. Yep. Yep.
I know there's so many ways they could go about it that are better than how they do it now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think there's a lot that they can do with the game still. Curious to see, because I mean, 2 more expansions. And that leads us in to the final question of the day. Kinda great segue. Thank you, Ryan. Do you guys think the Tunnels of Terror DLC is worth the price tag? And sorry, I can see that I started the slideshow before you fully changed the 15, but it's there. $15 is the price tag for this DLC on its lonesome. The annual pass also exists. It's like what, like $40 or something? I don't think you actually save all that much money doing that, but do you guys think it's worth it?
Hard to say. I think that the expansion itself is good for the game. I think it's fun, and I think that people need to support it in order for more to be made.
Yeah.
But the fact that so much of it is able to be done without buying it, I don't know that it's worth it at $15.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you have a group of people, like 4 friends, and you just pool together and
buy one.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling people.
It's probably gives you the same thing. It's like the only difference is that you can't play Heng Sharice, which as long as the one person who owns it plays Sharice,
it's fine.
Then you're fine.
Yeah. Worth it if you have a group of friends and one of them buys it.
Yeah, I think that's the real short answer that Cam's been really pushing on the streams, that if you like playing this game, you have a group of friends, one person should buy it because then you have access. And I can speak from personal experience. I don't even own the DLC. I'm just playing it off of these goons. So I'll say it. I don't think it's worth the price tag. Do I think it's great? Do I think it's good? Do I think it's enjoyable? Yes, I think it's wonderful. Do I think people should support? Yes, because like David said, if we want them to keep pushing this kind of stuff, you do have to support it. But personally, if you're a single individual, if you're only one person playing this, I don't think you should buy it. I'll be honest.
No.
I think you should come join the Smoover live stream, join us, and you'll get to play it for free because we own it.
Yeah,
so,
there we go.
There it is. There it is. I know, genuinely, I do think Tunnels of Terror has been a good addition to the game. I do think it's kind of sad that a lot of people have been pushing the narrative like this should have been like on release, or like this is how the game should have always been, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you could say that about a lot of games with DLC. Like,
yeah,
it's more time, right? Like they have to put more effort into it. Like obviously it's gonna be like right. So I think that's a rude narrative for people to be pushing. I don't think the fact that this had to come in DLC was a bad thing, but
yeah.
So any final words from you guys on Tunnels of Terror? This is kind of where I had us.
No
closing remarks. David, lead us off. You always do great, man.
No, I don't have anything.
No final opinions? Okay, wonderful, guys. Well, this was the Smoovers Sit Down number 1. Hope to be back again soon. Hope you guys had a good time. Hope you guys had fun talking with me too. 3 Smoovers. Great. There's 3 of us.
Yeah, it was fun.
There's 3 of us.
There's 3 of us. So there's 3 of us. So okay, guys.
Don't forget it.
Have a good rest of your day. Peace.
Goodbye.
Damn, David, no goodbye for the people.
Bye.
Okay.